Skeletal muscle, when you contract skeletal muscle, it releases myokines. And this concept that skeletal muscle is actually an organ system is true. It's relatively new science. Some of the better data is coming out since 2012. So this is new stuff. Pedersen really kind of paved the way. And when you think about exercise, we often think about endorphins, but we don't think about contracting muscle releasing myokines. And one of those myokines, and there's hundreds of different myokines. BDNF is a myokine.
Yeah.
And it goes to the brain and it affects brain function. It also affects nutrients. It affects lipolysis. It affects the liver. It affects all these other tissues. Skeletal muscle as an organ also has a relationship to the immune system. It's essentially a crosstalk. And if we care about Alzheimer's, which we do, and we care about cardiovascular disease, and we care about type 2 diabetes, and we care about insulin resistance, we have to understand that at the very core, we have to fix skeletal muscle first.
With this said, there's something I want to just circle back to really quickly, because you mentioned this myokine activity through muscle activation and the potentiality here, the influence on the immune system and the anti-inflammatory capacity. And I want to tie this in with, there is a big issue on a lot of people's minds right now. You know, we're talking about obviously chronic disease at epidemic proportions right now, but also infectious diseases.
Yes.
And the biggest risk factor outside of advanced age is obesity, reported by the CDC. Massive meta-analysis, 540,000 patients, and obesity is the number one risk factor. But what I'm hearing is it's not just about targeting fat.
It's the wrong focus, actually.
So let's talk about how muscle development is critical in solving this issue and in supporting our immune system.
Absolutely. I love that you bring that up. And I want to just point out one thing in terms of how broken the system is. Okay. When you look at obesity and you go to the doctor, you look at obesity endpoints. You look at insulin, you look at glucose, you look at triglycerides, you look at cholesterol, you look at CRP, you look at these endpoints that are all related to obesity. Okay, great. And everybody does that. That makes sense. This is what we do. What about endpoints related to muscle health? We don't look at that. We don't look at what is actually released post-exercise and if we are effectively stimulating the myokines. Or we don't look at marker endpoints post-exercise. This is a huge gape, right? There's like a gaping hole. I also want to bring up something else. We know what percent body fat could negatively affect people. We have an idea, right? If you're 30% or above, that might be negative. I can't tell you what your percent muscle mass should be. We have no idea. This is how little data that we have for actually solution-oriented medicine. This blows my mind. Why are we not looking at skeletal muscle as a, marker endpoint for health and vitality? Even a DEXA looks at body fat and then it extrapolates lean tissue. I mean, these are big holes.
But that's all.
But everybody, but there hasn't been, all lean tissue. We're looking at bone, blood, we're looking at everything.
Right.
But how is it that we've had blinders on? Constantly focused on obesity. And if we really care about solution and we really care about getting people better, we have to shift to skeletal muscle. And it's not about just going to work out. It's about understanding that as we age, skeletal muscle changes. Skeletal muscle is the primary site for glucose disposal.
Right.
It is the primary site for metabolic regulation. It is a primary site for fatty acid oxidation. If you want to survive an infectious disease and your body goes into a highly catabolic state, what is going to save you? It's going to be skeletal muscle.